Hey y'all, how's it going? I'm trading the ES futures on a 2000 tick chart with a 21 EMA. So I've got the overnight high up here and the overnight low down here. These are our key levels for the day. So I started trading at 8 Central Time, which is this area right here. Now, starting off, we have these couple legs up here. Notice we have that, starting from the overnight low, we have first leg up, break, second leg up, and we have a pretty strong reaction off of it, which it's not surprising because, it's been holding pretty well in the overnight session. And so, anyway, here we pushed down, and now the EMA ended up holding pretty well. We had a very strong bounce off of it, which is not ideal for a reversal. When you're looking to reverse, you do not want to see that. And then we do push down here, and some may view this as like entering on the second attempt down, entering short under this bar. But there is a problem here, so I'm going to move this arrow away for a second, just so I can draw this other measured move really quick. Let me just get that copied. So there we go. Notice we have this measured move still in play, and on a big picture, you can actually see we have this uptrend, break, first attempt higher, second attempt higher, which at this point right here, obviously you don't have that leg. You see it on a smaller picture. You may view this as uptrend, break, first attempt higher, second attempt higher, failure. And while technically that is true, and it technically did just fail, you had a pretty strong leg down there. Similar to this first leg, and you basically already have two legs down. So at the time of entering underneath this bar down here, you've already got two legs down, and you also still have this bigger measured move in play. And you draw out this trend line here, it's cutting it pretty close. So there's just a few things with this that you don't that make you not want to enter it. But I see why someone might get trapped into this. It looks like you're entering on that second attempt lower, which technically, once again, you are entering on that second attempt lower, but you already have two legs down. There's a bigger measured move in play. It's cutting it close with this trend line. There's just a few things that kept me out of that. And so anyway, we push lower here. We finish that second leg down. We start reversing higher. And now we push out of the overnight high. Now, when you push out of the overnight high or even the overnight low or a range, you can expect price to have two attempts to fade. And so when you break out, like I just said, price will attempt to fade most likely. And before you buy with the breakout, you need to wait on two attempts to fade, because a successful fade, it just pushes all the way back in and it just fades all the way down. But if you get those two attempts to fade and it's unsuccessful at fading, but it still already has two attempts, then you can look to buy with the breakout, because like I said, it already has the two attempts. And this is how second entries form. It's they don't form just out of nowhere. It's you break out of a magnet, in this case the overnight high, and like I just said, it's a magnet. Price will try to fade. If you wait on two attempts to fade, then it's technically played out on trying to fade if you get two attempts, so you can look to buy the breakout. And so here, notice how you get your biggest, in this whole area here, you get your biggest push up after two clear legs at fading. Now, there's not a good entry here, but my point is, you pushed up here, you had a push up there, but it was only after you got two clear legs down, which obviously this second leg here took a couple legs, a couple attempts, but after it was met, that's when you got your larger push higher there. And so this is basically what I was waiting for. We just met this measure move. I was expecting either a fade, and if we had pushed through the EMA and the overnight low, I would have wanted a reversal pattern, just a big picture failed second entry. However, I was also open to, if the trend line, if this overnight high level held, then I would be looking for a bounce and then either a higher low or a failed second entry above the EMA. But we were in this range and had a very clear downward, tilt to it. So it was just pretty clear. I stayed out of any longs in this. And so anyway, we had a couple attempts higher here, but we did end up pushing back down, starting to fade the overnight high. And it ended up just kind of getting messy. No real clear trades in this area. After we had that break and push down, I extended the trend line to this channel right here. It fit well off those lows, so I left it there. And what I was hoping was, coming off this low here, we get a couple legs up off this key entry point. I wasn't going to want to enter right into that overnight low, but I was hoping that we could get some kind of we could push into a reversal pattern from here, a failed second entry. But unfortunately, we don't get that. We just plummeted on down. And so, we had a very strong push down, and unfortunately, no entries on the way down. These corrections don't reach the EMA. They do need to reach, something. They're not even reaching the EMA. And so we push lower here. We bottom out. No entry pushing higher here. It just kind of pushes up out of nowhere. Even on this higher low, the higher low itself isn't off of anything. It does close above the EMA, but, a higher low, it's just a higher low after a huge push down. That's just not enough. I would want to see a real reversal pattern, a clear failed second entry holding above the EMA. That would be ideal. And so, anyway, we push on up here. We get all these corrections. We're not reaching the EMA. No reason to go long. And then here we get this first entry long, and I'll mention it when I see it. For those who are new, I see that right here we have first entry long, second entry long, technically to the tick, but really this is one leg down. I don't care about each tick that goes by. It's more about structure breaks. And so I just see a first entry, one leg down, no clear entry there. And we push on higher here, and then I'll mention this again. I usually don't go into every little detail. I'll mention it here just in case anyone's new. I see that right here, you technically have a higher low, and that right here, you have a failed second entry. You can see first entry short, second entry short failure. Just like I was talking about over here, this is too small picture. This, it's clearly all within this one uptrend. It's, I don't care about tick breaks. I want to see real structure breaks, So anyway, we push on up here. We continue higher inside of this uptrend. Now, when we get this right here, notice how it's a very small break, but we do have a push to a new high, and then we push back down after. So on a small picture, it technically had a break in a new high and then an attempt to reverse, but what that was forming on a bigger picture was, and it's a lot easier to see once you zoom out, because clearly that break and new high right there is still part of this uptrend. So when we had that reversal, this is really just forming a bigger picture break. And so, and that gets to this. Notice we have, I'm going to remove these for a sec. So notice we have this first leg up, break, second leg up. So we're clearly making these two legs higher here. We had a very significant, a very strong bounce way before reaching the overnight low here. And so we were making a second leg up here, but even though it's a second leg up, we still clearly have uptrend, break, and then pushing to a new high. Now this was the first attempt at a new high after a sharp push below the EMA, so I actually did not want to enter on that. But it does push up very strong, makes a new high. And then this right here, notice how we're clearly starting to go sideways. We're forming these highs up here. We also have this uptrend here, which we closed out of it barely on this bar. And so the way that I viewed this, which, I was out of the room when this happened, but I do kind of like this in a way. There's not room for it, but I technically like it with a limit order, which you would have not been filled with a limit order, by the way. But basically, this uptrend right here, it's kind of hard to see with the, I should probably make it darker, but you have that uptrend, break, first attempt higher, second attempt higher, failure. And look how strong that failure is. And, when you're all zoomed in, it can be kind of hard to see, but clearly you have two attempts at a new high, forming a triple test off these range highs, closing out of this channel right here with a very strong bearish bar, and on a bigger picture, you have two legs up. So you really do have good context, it's like a good general area to go short, but unfortunately, let me draw out this risk to reward tool. You were clearly going in this range right here. It was cutting it close with this uptrend. So the big picture, it looks really good, including to enter right, barely closing out of this uptrend. But unfortunately, I wouldn't be confident in pushing it past this resistance level. So, even though right here you see it technically would have won, that doesn't mean something like this will push out of it next time. And so you would have needed a limit order to technically be safe, which you would have not gotten filled on a limit order. It just plummeted on down. But I just wanted to go over that area, even though there's not really a clear entry for me there. I just wanted to go over that. And now, anyway, we push lower here. And now, as we, attempted to reach the overnight high here, it was clear we were going for a retest there. We didn't reach it. We just pushed back up, got this higher low. And now, to the tick, I see, it's a failed second entry. But the way that I view this is really just we have a leg up, a break. We can expect a second leg up. And it was right after failing to retest that. So it was clear that the bulls were in play. If they can't even retest the overnight high, it was a very strong push out, but apparently this range was a lot stronger in order to keep it faded back in and preventing it from reaching this major magnet down here, this overnight high. And so that's why I like this. It's a very clear higher low, very strong bar. I did like it. Unfortunately, no fill. I was entering with a limit order because notice this high up here. And I knew that there was, this up here, but it was fitting generally better here off those bodies. But I knew that there was a wick up here and then there were body up there. But I wanted to get out before where it was holding best. And so I used a limit order. And if I had entered with a stop order, I would have had to push it pretty far out. That's pretty far to push out of a range. So, I did the limit order and I was unable to get filled. And so anyway, we reached those highs, 2 legs up, we push on down here, and it was just a first entry long, and when we're closing above the EMA, it's not the best single bar, but it's really just one first entry anyway. We push up, we start getting choppy up here. You can kind of see we have a couple legs up there. It's continuing to stay choppy. It's really forming a range right here inside of a range. Rangeception. So anyway, that's going to do it for this video. Hope it helped out in some way. I really did enjoy making it. Hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.